What's good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one, we're going to be talking about the one and only NIO stock and what you should be looking out for the future of this company. I'm also going to give you guys my price prediction for tomorrow and talk about why the SPY is very important and how it may affect NIO going forward. I'm also going to talk about what's going on in China and how this may affect NIO and Tesla going forward, and what NIO put on their Twitter page that still makes me very bullish for the long-term future of this company, despite the price action we've seen in the past. Now, before I break any of this down, before I talk into any more details or do any technical analysis on NIO, I do have to mention a couple of things real quick. The first thing is I'm not a financial planner, so please don't take this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. Not only benefits me, benefits the entire NIO community as a whole. And the last thing is, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo with the link down below and deposit $100, you're not only going to qualify for up to 6 free stocks, each worth up to $3,500, but Moomoo is also going to give you access to the Hong Kong exchange, which will allow you to trade NIO there. With the 6 free stocks, you could always sell them and buy some NIO shares with the money you get for free. So please check it out before the offer ends in 2 weeks to get your free NIO shares. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So, looking at NIO, we were up 3.65% for the day. I did predict a bit of a green day today, and I did see us closing maybe a little bit above that the $19.50 range. That is kind of where NIO closed at, a little bit higher than that, which is a very good sign. But I do want to talk about some very important risks involved in the way NIO is moving. So right now, NIO kind of does follow the SPY pretty well, the SPY and the NASDAQ. And right now, they both look very, very similar because they do have this gap right over here that needs to get filled. And I don't know if it's going to happen in the future, but it does look like it's going to happen relatively soon. So I would anticipate that tomorrow, maybe the day we fill these gaps before we do see a bit of a drop after that. And you could see on the SPY that gap comes at around that, what is that, the 446 range or around 447. So be on the lookout for that 447 on the SPY, and that should push NIO a little bit to the upside. So one weird thing about NIO is we often have these gaps, but they are filled by wicks. So technically they aren't gaps, but typically they are some very good indicators of where the price may end up going anyways, because candles are not always connected for NIO. So when we have these disconnections, it's not necessarily a gap, but this could be a key zone that kind of determines where the share price could end up going, right? Not always the truth, but this is just an example. For instance, we had this big distance between this candle and this one, and there's a wick that technically fills the gap here, but then because we had this distance, we ended up dropping very low to 1836, getting that nice bounce, and then we essentially came back to this range, which just goes to show that there are particular ranges that we could look out for. So I'm bringing that up because we have the same thing right here. So I'm going to pull up a horizontal line right here. I'm going to make it white so it's easy to see. There we go. It's at 20.31. Now that's not necessarily a true gap, but it includes these two candles that are not connected, right? They're connected by this wick, but that is a key zone. It just goes to show that is where I think NIO is going to go to. So with that said, it's very possible that NIO goes to that 20.56 range, and we may get a rejection there. And that's what I think is going to play out for the next upcoming days. Just like with the SPY might run up and get a bit of a rejection before kind of cooling off for some time before this thing continues to run to the upside. So what I think is going to happen to NIO is this. And this is the part where I give you guys my price prediction. I think NIO is going to run up going into tomorrow, trade a little bit sideways in the morning, then push around midday. And I think NIO is going to fill this. It's not necessarily a gap. It's going to go to this key zone at that 20.31 range, and we're going to push to 20.56, then get rejected and end up dropping after that. And we may close just barely above 20, but then the next days following it, I think Thursday and Friday, right? So for tomorrow, I predict we're going to close in the green around 20, maybe a little bit higher than 20. Then I predict we're going to descend a little bit for Thursday and Friday. We could come back down to that 19 range, get that nice bounce, and going into the next week, I think it's very possible we continue to move up. And in the next 2 weeks or so, I expect us to push a lot better to this 2246 range and actually fill this gap. So it's going to take a couple of weeks, maybe after the FOMC meeting where they announce the minutes that are released on May 4th, and the minutes that come out will show what the Fed is doing, to what degree they're reducing their balance sheet, or if they actually go with that 50 basis point rate hike, which they most likely will. Once that comes out, that's when I think NIO is going to start pushing. So be prepared for that date. I think that for the short term, NIO is probably going to make some bullish moves, maybe get rejected, see some bearish price action here and there, some sideways action. Then in the weeks after, I expect this thing to push right back up, and we should be back to the low 20s very, very soon. I also want to talk about something else that's important. That is what other technical indicators are showing, because they are very important too. So what we could see is we are kind of trading. If I actually bring up the 5-minute candles, we're starting to see this thing above that 200 moving average. That's a pretty good sign, because it just goes to show that NIO is kind of starting this upward trend. It's looking a lot stronger than before after we got that bounce off 1836. So we should hit a higher range sometime tomorrow. And on top of that, we got that 1348 EMA crossover right over here. It's looking a lot better. Other technical indicators include the RSI and the MACD. You guys can see the RSI is picking up to 63.36. And as for the MACD, what you'll notice is that we are seeing that upward trend. Let me just pull that up right over here. So we got that flip, which showed us that we were dropping for some time. That is what happened when we hit 1957. And then we got another flip, and it's showing that we do have some more bullish price action that's beginning to show. And that's why I am a little bit bullish going into tomorrow, but I do think we're going to see a bit of a cool down for Thursday and Friday. That is what my prediction is. And another important thing would be the volume, right? As for the volume relative to before, you guys could see we did see some good bullish volume that came in. We saw some nice spikes, but it kind of slowed down as the day went on until the very end it pushed up. So that's a good sign, because compared to before, you guys could see we are seeing this pattern where it pushes up and it drops throughout the day, pushes up and drops, but it has been pushing us up to the upside. So we are kind of running on lower volume, which is a pretty good sign. So I'm temporarily a lot more bullish than bearish. I do think there's going to be a cool off period. And then after that, I would expect this thing to continue to run up and fill these gaps to the upside very soon. So overall, I am still bullish. Regardless of the short term, we're still very, very bullish. Now, what are some important things we have to look out for? Well, one of the things that people are talking about is the fact that there are these lockdowns in China, and the production at NIO's facility, it was hurt in some ways because of the fact that this could lead to more supply chain constraints, but they are resuming their production, so it's actually looking better for them compared to other companies. So it's not the end of the world. I think the media tends to exaggerate about how this is going on, but they are starting to ship their new sedan model, which I think is very incredible. Their ET7 is looking very good. So as they really get out there in Europe, I think it's going to be very big for the company. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is the fact that NIO is notorious for their SUVs. You can see the NIO ES6 is a high performance. It has high performance genes derived from the track that's equipped with permanent magnets and induction motors with both explosive power and endurance. So it's a very powerful a vehicle that's able to do many, many miles in its range. I mean, hundreds of miles. It's doing fantastic. And I just believe that as this company continues to grow and expand, they're going to destroy the short thesis, and they are really going to push. Now, NIO is a very shorted stock. Don't forget that there is manipulation that sometimes drives it down, but it does not matter. It's not the end of the world, because this company has immense potential. It has squeeze potential. And if you give it time, as many people have stated, we are bullish for NIO. We have not lost faith. The company's fundamentals are there, and it just needs some time to really show us how great it truly is. I see this as a future play, not just a short-term play, but a future play. And if you do want to trade this, or day trade this, or swing trade it, or scalp it, pay attention to your indicators. Don't just depend on predictions, and get ready for anything, because the future has its uncertainties here and there, but overall it is still very bright for NIO. With that said and done, thank you for listening. Have a fantastic rest of the day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. NIO to the moon, and peace out.